Shabbat Shalom. Boy, I think we can agree, or many of us can agree, oi, what a week. No matter where you are on the political spectrum, we're being faced with decisions that directly affect our community. I'm thinking of our trans kids and our trans adults who are being told this week that they need to change their passports because they don't exist. I'm thinking about those in our community who were born here to immigrant parents and whose citizenship could be at risk. And I'm thinking of all of us who have had to engage in an endless debate or watch others engage in an endless debate about whether or not we witnessed a Nazi salute. We are being washed with a fire hose of bad news. And I've heard a number of people ask, what are we doing? What are we going to do about it? For some of us, it feels a little bit like we're asleep at the wheel. And I'm reminded this week of the story of Jonah, our prophet, who's trying to run away from God, which is not a thing that the Torah likes you to do. He's trying to run away from God, so he gets on a ship, and God causes a terrible storm to hit that ship. And Jonah, famously, what does he do? He makes his way to the bottom of the ship, and he falls into a deep sleep. This phenomenon of experiencing sleepiness while under threat has actually been studied. When we're faced with a threat, when human beings are faced with something that feels dangerous, initially our bodies react by filling ourselves with a stress hormone that causes us to react and put up a response. But if that threat persists, we can then enter a stage of exhaustion where we're actually flooded with drowsiness. And that drowsiness is a way of our body trying to preserve our energy over time. Many of us care so deeply about what's happening in the world right now, but we're exhausted. Some of us, I know I am, I'm feeling sleepy. And it's not because we don't care. I think it's because we're at a loss for who we should be and what we should do in this moment. But what is our gorgeous, ancient, time-tested tradition for, if not for times like these? Every single Friday night, we pray Lecha Dodi. We opened the service with it. It's a mystic poem written in the 16th century by Rabbi Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz. And I've always loved the 5th verse of that prayer. It says, Hitorari, wake up, wake up. The words continue, Ki va orech kumi ori. Wake up because your light is coming. Why every Shabbat do we implore ourselves, wake up, wake up? And what does waking up spiritually even mean? Rabbi Miriam Margles tells a story about Reb Zalman Schachter Shalomi, who was the founder of the Renewal movement of Judaism. And Reb Zalman used to tell a story about his 5-year-old daughter who would wake up and say, Abba, Dad, you know how when you're asleep sometimes and you're dreaming, it seems so real, and then suddenly you wake up and you realize it was all just a dream? When you're actually awake, can you wake up even more? Can you wake up and realize that this is just a dream? The Jewish answer to that is yes. Yes, you can wake up even more. And our job right now is to spiritually wake up in our lives. And I want to be clear that there's something I'm called to do right now, which is scroll on my phone constantly reading the news and be in a constant anxiety spiral. And that's not what waking up looks like. My hope for myself and for all of us is to wake up by getting clear on what our purpose can be in this moment. What does it mean for each of us, individually and as a group, to rise to this occasion? To develop a clearer and more confident understanding of who we want to be? How do we listen to Lecha Dodi that reminds us, even in hard times, our light is coming? In reflecting on this question, I've been thinking this week about the Women's March. Did any of you attend some version of a Women's March back in 2017? Okay, I'm seeing some nods. I was 25 at the time and living in New York City, and I remember seeing a post on Facebook that said, "Come to the Women's March." And I knew immediately in the pit of my stomach that I had to be there. And so my sister and I rented a car and drove to DC, and we joined 470,000 other people who were clad in pink hats and playing music and carrying signs, and who all felt like they had to be there. And that was, at the time, the largest single-day protest in United States history. And then it felt like nothing. We packed up our signs, and most of us just went back to our day-to-day lives. And some even ridiculed the march. The takeaway seemed to be that that march, while fun, provided few actual results. And that's what I thought at that time too. But now, this week, looking back, I think that march was a symbol that people were paying attention, that we were willing to travel and come together for a purpose. And so I'm wondering, how do we regain that kind of energy? The kind that jerks us from our routines and fills us with a sense of focus, where we ask ourselves, what's worth fighting for, even in our very busy, sometimes exhausting lives? And how do we channel that energy, not just into accidental virtue signaling or one-off marches that feel really good? How do we weave this work into our day-to-day lives? The Shulchan Aruch, which is one of our most important legal texts, gives us an instruction for waking up in the morning. And this is what it says. It says, each person should wake up with strength like a lion. Wake up with the purpose to serve your Creator so that it's you who awakens the dawn. So these are the three pieces of advice from the Shulchan Aruch. One is, wake up feeling like a lion. Number two is, wake up with a purpose that helps you serve your Creator. And number three is, get up a little earlier so that you can awaken the dawn. I'm going to ignore number three for now and just focus on numbers 1 and 2. What does this look like? What could this look like for us? I happened to be on the phone this week, a complete coincidence, with an amazing congregant who said to me, every single morning I wake up and I think about two things. First, I ask myself, what's happening today with my kids? Then I think, what's happening with tzedek? What's happening with the social justice work at Emanu-El? She literally wakes up every day and asks herself, what is the most important thing to me today? Now, when I called her back again to ask her if I could use this anecdote in this sermon, she said, I want to be clear, Rabbi Rena, it's nice that you think this is cool, but actually I worry that I do this from a place of anxiety. But I'm still really inspired by it. So I wonder, how could we, in a non-anxious way, when we're facing the craziness of the world, or in a less anxious way, How can we wake up and ask ourselves, what is on our list? What are one or two of the biggest things that we care about today? What's giving us a sense of purpose? I tried to do this week, and some days were better than others. Some days I felt like I'm here today to help people feel a sense of belonging. And other days, I just said purpose to myself on repeat. But these questions that sometimes become mantras or prayers really can help ground us when we're feeling overwhelmed. There's a Hasidic song, much like Lecha Dodi that we sang earlier tonight, that says, Titorer, titorer, wake up, Ki ata nimtza b'choshech chazak. Because we will find strength in the darkness. May we continue to wake up to our purpose and our power. May we continue to find strength in the darkness. Shabbat Shalom.